Hello and welcome to a casual and cozy Q&A video. I'm wearing my favorite sweater, got a candle burning in the background, loud trucks going past. Just to let you in on some of the behind the scenes of filming my videos, I happen to live at a very busy street corner, and so there's always lots of traffic, and I find myself always having to pause when there's like big trucks outside and stuff like that so that the audio is not terrible. So hopefully in this video the audio is all right. Technical details aside, I asked you all on Instagram for some questions and I'm gonna answer them today. To be totally honest, I had other content planned for this week, but with my mom's restaurant opening and it being very, very busy, I ended up going in to work there more than I thought I was going to, so I didn't have as much time to get my own work done. So I'm very, very happy for how busy it's been. It is very exciting, but the intention was never for me to work there full time, just to help out as we were getting started and stuff. And so this week has just been a little bit different than anticipated, therefore the Q&A. But I hope you all enjoy it. Lauren Gale asked, how do you get out of your comfort zone and just do something? That's such a good question. I feel like one of the biggest things holding so many people back from starting a YouTube channel, making a podcast, starting an Instagram, is really just the confidence factor. And building up confidence around any of those different things all starts from the original point of getting out of your comfort zone and just trying it. It's hard for me to give advice on this, honestly, because I have always just felt so passionate and motivated about these things that drives me to do things that I find nerve-wracking, because I'm like, well, I just have to try. If I don't try, I will never know if I'll be good at it. So in terms of practical advice, I would say give yourself a deadline. Tell yourself, I am going to do this, because if I don't, I'll never know if that's what I was meant to do. Maybe find yourself an accountability partner to check in with you and ask, oh, did you do that thing that's outside of your comfort zone? Because I really do think it's just about pulling off the Band-Aid and going for it. How do you come up with ideas for social media? This is a really good question. A lot of creative people like to think about inspiration like it's something that just comes to them out of the blue, like in a dream or shower thoughts, and those are always really great times to get ideas, but when you are trying to do it in a consistent and sustainable way, especially if you basically come up with ideas for a business like me, you need to have something more planned and practical than that. So I have systems in place that help me brainstorm. If you've been around my channel for a while, then you might already know about my Instagram content calendar and the content matrix. If you want to check it out, I'll link my video up here about it. And you can also get that document at katiesteckly.com/calendar. But essentially what it is just giving yourself structures and parameters to come up with ideas within. So that's why I have my idea of a niche and then 5 content pillars. And then within those 5 content pillars, I try to come up with ideas that educate, entertain, encourage. Having all these different categories is just a way to give yourself limits. And I really think that creativity thrives under limits. When it's just like, make anything, how are you gonna come up with an idea for that? But if the assignment is come up with an Instagram post that would encourage people around body image and confidence, now you're talking. Now you can actually come up with ideas. So give yourself limits and use structures, and that's how you're gonna be able to come up with ideas consistently. How are you able to get work done when mentally things aren't great in the world/news? From Jen. Oh man, honestly, I just try not to think about it too much. I'm the kind of person that I feel compelled to be informed about things. Like, to me, it's important to know what's going on in the world and news and politics, and I'm very passionate about things like social justice, climate justice, that kind of thing. And I think that honestly, I just got used to living with existential dread. That sounds terrible, but like, especially when I was in university, me and my friends did a lot of like watching documentaries and talking about and researching things like climate change and I don't know, other important issues. But especially with like climate change, I feel like I just basically had to get used to the fact that like things were absolutely completely terrible, and there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish within 50 years, and there's not much I can do about it except for try my own personal best to contribute, except for really it's corporations and not individuals that are making the biggest impact. I'm going on a tangent now, but the point is, to me, our earth not being livable or not being able to sustain making food for us or having clean water for us is pretty much the most existential threat to our species possible. And I think the more I learned about that, the more I just became resigned that like it is what it is, and all I can do is try my best, advocate for change, do what I can, and then outside of that, like I can't control what goes on in the world. So just living with that and continuing to push forward anyway, like it's the biggest feat of cognitive dissonance possible, but like you also have to do it, because what else are you gonna do? I can't even picture myself as like a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old, because to me, I can't even picture the world at that point in time. So just like living day by day, basically. So the point of that, I guess, is I was already really feeling like that because of my thoughts about climate change and stuff like that. And then obviously when COVID happened, that just like turned the dial up to 1,000,000 on that, of feeling like you have no idea what the future holds. Who knows what's happening 2 weeks from now, let alone 2 years from now, and just living day by day. And I really think that even though like the world is really, really shitty, and it's terrifying and lots of bad things are happening all the time, and we need to keep working to try to stop them. I think that when it comes to your everyday life, your work, you just have to live as if you are going to, you know, live into your old and have like a normal life, as far as we've been like raised to think of a normal life, because chances are that will happen, and then you want to be prepared for that. So that's why I am not living this sort of like, I could die tomorrow, what would I do today kind of thing. I assume that things are going to go as they have been going, but also understanding that there's a high chance they won't. I hope that makes sense. That probably was a lot more existential than what you were expecting, but speaking of that, I am going to be posting this video, I think on like November 3rd or something. So this conversation is especially relevant, seeing as we're right around the time of the US federal election, or just as the US election. I don't know how it works there. We have different elections for different levels of government. I think they do it all at once. That obviously is stressful, especially as somebody who's outside of the US, and if any of my followers who are not American, you probably will relate to this. It feels like this one country has the power to make decisions on behalf of the entire world, because we don't get to elect the leader of the US, but the decisions that the leader of the US makes impacts everybody, because they're a disproportionately powerful country. And it's just, I mean, it's incredibly obvious to me that Donald Trump has to stop being the president like ASAP, or then I really can't imagine a future where anything good is happening. So if you can vote in the US, please do that, or I hope you already have, because I can't, but the outcome of the election definitely impacts me and millions of other people. Pretty much everybody, actually. Isn't that great? Okay, moving on. Curious about your income breakdown between YouTube, client work, etc. I actually really like this question, so much so that I am going to make an entire video about it. So if you're curious what my income breakdown looks like between YouTube AdSense, my social media marketing agency work, brand deals, digital product revenue, I'm going to be talking about all of that in a video that I'll be posting later this week. So let me know in the comments what you would like to know about what my business looks like and how I make money, and I'll try to address that in that video. Sarah asks, I want to start freelance writing. Would you suggest starting with Upwork or cold emailing? This is a fun question, because something that you might not know about me is that I actually used to be kind of an aspiring freelance writer. I studied English in university, specifically rhetoric, media, and professional communication, with a specialization in digital media studies. And especially after my first year and stuff, I was very interested in the world of creative writing and journalism. I did an internship at Fashion Magazine, which is kind of like the Canadian version of Vogue or whatever. So at that time, I was writing articles for the Fashion Magazine website, and then I was also submitting articles to other different sites because I was trying to build up my writing portfolio. I wrote a couple things for The Financial Diet, which is a YouTube channel that I love, and at the time they were just kind of taking submissions for their website. This was many years ago. I haven't gone back to read those because I feel like I would be embarrassed. Anyway, so I was definitely trying at that freelance writing game for a little while. I think it's lots of fun. I do think it's difficult to break into because there's a lot of people also trying to do it. But I think starting by having your own blog to come up with your own writing examples Whether you do that on a website or maybe something like Medium is up to you, but I think like if there aren't people willing to hire you to write right now, then start writing yourself so you have examples. Then figure out, like there's so many different like editorial websites online, like Refinery29 type websites. Find those websites and see if you can get some contact info to start submitting your work there. Starting with smaller websites and then building your way up is probably going to be the best way to really get into it. So I would say if you're interested in that sort of like creative editorial stuff, start with a blog and then start pitching yourself to publications. If you're interested in freelance writing in terms of like being sort of like a business writer or doing it like for clients, then using Upwork or creating your own website with service offerings would be another good way to start. But I think pitching yourself, cold emailing, it's always like, that's kind of how you're gonna have to start out, whether it's to publications or to clients. Just go for it and all the best. I can't wait to hear how it goes for you. How much time should I spend engaging with people to be favored by the Instagram algorithm? Honestly, as much as you humanly possibly can. All of us could always be spending more time engaging on Instagram, but I will say it's not necessarily to be favored by the algorithm. It's actually just to build relationships with people. The more people that you have conversations with, the more people who are going to be engaged and want to comment on your posts, like your posts. And of course, if you post a piece of content and it gets a lot of comments and likes right off the bat, the algorithm is more likely to show it in more feeds. So it all contributes to the growth of your profile, but it really comes down to it's all about building relationships, and the more strong relationships you have, the more followers you'll eventually have. So as much time as you can. If you could aim to do an hour a day, you'd be doing better than me. That's my goal, and I hardly ever make it happen. But even like start with an hour a week if you're starting from nothing, and then just try to build your way up and make more time for it every day. As a college student, how could I best set myself up for a career in social media marketing? From Madison. So at one point I was a university student who was wanting to get into a career of, I don't know if it was really social media marketing, but I've always been interested in marketing. When I was in university, I started freelancing as a side hustle, and that is what I would recommend you doing. At the time, I thought that I was gonna be like more so a filmmaker, and I was a freelance videographer. Most of what I did was film videos for clients that they used for their own marketing purposes, but eventually I realized that I had marketing expertise to share so I could make content for them and tell them how to use it. So that's where my business ended up eventually. But I think that starting out freelancing while you're still in school is a really smart move, because no matter what, every freelancer is gonna start out doing it on a part-time basis. Pretty much nobody has the contacts and the authority to have like full-time freelance gigs right off the bat. So if you can start doing it on the side while you're in school, then maybe you'll set yourself up to be in a position to graduate and then go full-time freelance when the time comes. Start small, start pitching yourself to potential clients, see if you can find any connections through people you know at school or friends or family who maybe have small businesses that are looking for help with social media. Build up your own social media presence. Don't stress too much about being present on Instagram 100% of the time, but at least have some examples so that you look like you know what you're doing. And then just pitch yourself to people. Go to networking events, meet with as many people as possible. When I was in university, I would go to every potential event where I could meet other female business owners. I would talk to people who I thought might know people who might want to hire me. Building up connections is so important, and then also getting lots of good examples of your work. How do you act natural on stories and not be awkward recording in front of others? From Sabrina. This is tough. If other people are around, that does make it more awkward, I'll be honest. I've got a decade of experience sitting and talking to a camera alone in my bedroom, but when you actually get in front of other people and then you have to record, I get it. It feels weird. But I think practice is really just it. Like seriously, practice all the time. Send your friends Snapchat videos, practice doing it in front of other people, practice doing it alone. The more you do it, the less awkward you will feel. And ultimately, just try to remember you're talking to real people. So don't get caught up in the like, oh, I'm just filming a video and it's like talking to the mirror. No, there's actually people on the other end. Just speak like you're leaving a voicemail for a friend, and it's gonna feel more natural. Have you ever had a business coach? Thoughts on coaches? I've never had a formal business coach. I've been fortunate to have a lot of people in my life that are also entrepreneurs. I am the third generation of female entrepreneurs in my family. My mom and her mom both have experience in the world of entrepreneurship. My mom has a restaurant. My grandma used to have her own flower shop, and now has a garden center business that her and my grandpa kind of built from the ground up. So I've always had lots of advice and conversation with the people in my life who have experience in business, but I've never hired a coach. I don't have anything against that. I think that's totally like a valid thing for people to do that are needing that extra help and encouragement, like totally good on them. I just have never done it because honestly, I think it's that a part of me is stubborn and wants to do it on my own. It took me a really long time to ever hire assistants. Once I did, it totally changed my business. There's no way that I could be operating at the capacity that I do now without the help of my awesome team members, Taylor and Jordan. But I've just always been a very much like, I'll figure it out myself, I'm gonna research it on my own kind of girl. So I've just never thought of getting a coach. I think probably a lot of it comes down to finding the right person and the right personality fit, but yeah, I don't know. It just never really occurred to me to do it. Okay, I think those are gonna be all the questions for today. I feel like I rambled on long enough. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. It's just fun to sit here and kind of chat with you, and hopefully some of my answers were helpful. And yeah, make sure that you're subscribed. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably are, but I am gonna be posting that video on Friday about my income breakdown, so watch out for that if you're interested. In the meantime, if you're interested in learning more about me and my life, then you can check out this video about why I got married so young. And before you head over there, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. If you are still watching at this point, please comment below because you are the real MVP, and honestly, we're like best friends. Okay, I know this was a long ass video, and if you're still watching and the audio is this bad, we must be friends. So hit me up in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.